Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in as we have a review of angles. So we're going to look at special types of angles here that you will need to know in order to be able to handle problems involving congruent triangles. So let's start with complementary and supplementary angles. So we look first at complementary angles. So we can see that we have a right angle in blue, and there are two angles that make up that right angle, a 58-degree angle and an angle I've labeled A. So those two angles are said to be complementary. Note it's complementary with an E, not an I. Complimentary with an I, we're talking about like giving you a compliment, saying something nice about you. Complement with an E means they go together. In this case, they go together to form a right angle. So these two angles, A and 58 degrees, add up to 90. So we can easily figure out the value of A. We have A plus 58 degrees equals 90. So of course, A will just be 90 minus 58, which is 32 degrees. How easy is that? Now we'll take a look at supplementary angles. So remember, angles in a straight line add to 180 degrees. That's always the case. Any straight line, the angles add to 180 degrees. So in our picture, we have three angles that make up the angle in a straight line. So those three angles are said to be supplementary, meaning they add to 180 degrees. So it would be really easy to figure out what x is in this diagram. So we have x plus the right angle, 90 degrees, plus another x equals 180. So x plus x is just 2x, and luckily we did so much work on equations and you know how to solve them. So we subtract 90 from both sides and then divide by 2, and we find x is 45 degrees. How easy is that? So now we're going to review angles in parallel lines. Please pause and copy this down if you need. So remember, two lines are said to be parallel if those two lines never meet. And we usually put some arrows on to indicate that they're parallel. So they're parallel if they're going in the same direction, they will never meet. So remember, we can draw a line across those parallel lines called a transversal. That's a line that cuts parallel lines. So there are some special types of angles that we learned. Firstly, we look at vertically opposite angles. So vertical means like upright, and opposite means facing each other. So this angle here and this angle here are vertically opposite. They're upright facing each other. So too are these two angles vertically opposite, as are these two angles. And also these two angles are vertically opposite. So what's so important about vertically opposite angles? Well, let's look at this angle and this angle. So they are supplementary because they both make this straight line here. Angles in a straight line are 180 degrees. So that means that if, say, this angle was 100 degrees, then this angle next to it would be 80 degrees. But hang on a minute. This angle here is also supplementary to this angle here. They lie on this straight line, and so they must also add to 180 degrees. So if this angle here is 100, this one here must be 80 degrees. And then, of course, this one in here would be in 100 degrees as well. So they kind of come in pairs. So you can see the two green angles are equal to each other, the two red angles are equal to each other. And similarly, these two angles are equal to each other. This angle and this angle are equal to each other. So vertically opposite angles are equal. So now we're going to go through another type of angle. Please pause and copy this down if you need. So now we look at co-interior angles. So interior means inside and co sort of like means together. So these are both inside the parallel lines. So this angle here and this angle here, the two angles marked in green are co-interior, as are this angle here and this angle here. The two red ones are co-interior as well. So co-interior make a C shape. So we can draw a C around the two green angles, Or you can look at it as a back to front C as well. We could also draw a C around the red angles. So co-interior angles have that C shape. So the thing about co-interior angles, they're not equal. They are supplementary, meaning that they add to 180 degrees. So if one of these angles was, say, 120, let's say this one was 120 degrees, this one here would have to be 60. So co-interior angles are not necessarily equal, unlike vertically opposite angles. So why they're supplementary is complicated. I was once told that actually no one's ever proved that co-interior angles are supplementary. They've just never ever found two angles that were co-interior that were not supplementary, okay? So please just take it as truth for now. Co-interior angles are supplementary, so they add to 180 degrees. Let's now look at another type of angle. So now we're now looking at alternate angles. They're sometimes called alternate interior angles. So alternate means kind of like different or opposite. They're on opposite sides of the transversal and they're both interior. That's why they're called alternate interior angles. So we're talking about these two angles in red are alternate. These two angles marked in black are alternate. So alternate angles have a Z shape. It might be a back to front Z as well. So we could draw a Z like around the red, like that, or you can draw a Z, say, around the black angles like that. Okay, so alternate angles make a Z shape. Now, I said before that we had these two angles adding to 180, right? But if this plus this equals 180, and this plus this also equals 180 because they're supplementary, then the two red angles must be equal. So if x was, say, 40 degrees, this angle here would be 140 because they're co-interior, they add to 180, but then this angle here would also have to be 140 because it has to add to 180 as well, with that one there. And then, of course, this one here would be 40 degrees. So you can see the two black angles and the two red angles are equal to each other. Alternate angles are equal. Okay? So we have to do one more type of angle. So again, please pause and copy this down if you need. Type of angles, we look at corresponding angles. So these two angles here in red are corresponding to each other, as are these ones in yellow and green, and also the black ones will be corresponding to each other. So these are characterized by an F shape. So I can draw, say, an F around the yellow angles there. So they are corresponding. I can draw an F around the green shapes, albeit it will be a back to front F. Okay? I can draw an F around the blacks, but that will be an upside down F, like this. So hopefully you get the picture. Corresponding angles, you can draw an F around. It might be a normal F or an upside down F or a back to front F or whatever. Corresponding angles are an F shape. So let's look at the angles in red. So for the same reason as for alternate angles, corresponding angles will be equal. So if this angle here was, say, 45 degrees, then the red angle here would be 135, because this angle and this angle have to add to 180. They're supplementary. But this angle and this angle are also supplementary. So this one would have to be 135 degrees as well, because it is co-interior to the 45-degree angle. So once again, we have corresponding angles are equal. Okay? So now we're just going to do some problems involving corresponding alternate and co-interior angles. So we are told an angle here is 30 degrees, and we're going to use that to find all of the angles from A to G, and we're going to give a reason for our answer. So first up, A, we can start there. That will have to be 150 degrees. So the reason is supplementary angles. So I'm just going to abbreviate it, because A and the 30-degree angle add to 180 because they're supplementary. So B must also be 30 degrees because it's vertically opposite the 30-degree angle. So again, I'm just going to abbreviate vertically opposite angles. C is 150 as well, and you can get that a few ways. It's supplementary to the 30-degree angle. It's also vertically opposite A, and A is 150, and we know vertically opposite angles are equal. So I'm just going to say this time vertically opposite to A. So we can figure out D, E, F, and G. We just need one additional bit of information. So in the previous slide, I told you that co-interior angles, so remember co-interior, they were both inside the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. So remember, they were supplementary. I told you that alternate angles were equal, and I told you corresponding angles are equal. But that actually only works if the lines are parallel. So if this line here and this line are parallel, if they are not parallel, then I can't use those rules that co-interior angles are supplementary, alternate angles are equal, and corresponding angles are equal. So if I tell you the lines are parallel, I can use those rules to find D, E, F, and G. So let's assume they're parallel. So then D, the next one, is 30 degrees because it's alternate to the 30-degree angle. So this one and this one are alternate, and we have parallel lines. G would have to be 150 degrees as well because it is co-interior to the 30-degree angle, and we have a parallel line. F is corresponding to the angle marked 30 degrees. So it has to be 30 also because corresponding angles are equal. And of course, there are heaps of ways we can find E as well. So E is vertically opposite to G, it is corresponding to C, it is supplementary to F. Heaps of ways you can do it. It is going to be 150 degrees, whichever one of those you use. All right, there's just one more thing we need to go through, which is determining whether two lines are parallel. Again, please pause and copy down if you need this. So now we're going to use our knowledge of angles to determine whether we have any parallel lines in the diagrams. Let's look at the first one. So of course, this angle, the 30-degree angles, they are alternate. So as I was sort of saying before, alternate angles are equal if and only if the lines are parallel. So here, are the lines parallel? Yes, this line and this line are parallel, and the reason is the two angles that are alternate are equal. So we can just write alternate angles are equal, okay? So if two angles are alternate and they're equal, then the lines must be parallel. So let's look at the other diagram. Well, we don't have any corresponding co-interior or alternate angles here. But notice, this angle here I can figure out. It has to be 97 degrees because these two are supplementary. So supplementary angles don't require parallel lines. They always add up to 180 degrees whether you have parallel lines or not. But now that we've done that, we can see that I have two angles that are alternate, but this time they're not equal. So therefore, this line and this line cannot be parallel. So are the lines parallel? No, because in this case, we have two alternate angles, but they are not equal to each other, okay? And that's all I need to conclude that they're not parallel. All right, hope you've enjoyed this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.